In the small, fog-drenched town of Eldermere, a crumbling antique shop sat at the end of a narrow street, its windows grimy and cracked. Inside, the scent of dust and decay mingled with the faint, lingering aroma of old wood. Among the countless relics, one item loomed larger than the rest, a mirror, intricately framed and covered with a shroud of cobwebs. Its surface glimmered faintly, as if it held secrets that whispered in the dark. Marissa, a curious teenager with a penchant for the eerie, had always been drawn to the stories surrounding the mirror. Locals spoke in hushed tones about how it revealed the true nature of those who gazed into it. Many claimed it was cursed, a portal to a world filled with darkness and despair. Still, Marissa's curiosity was insatiable. One misty evening, she found herself standing before it, heart racing with both fear and excitement. As she wiped the dust from the surface, her reflection emerged, distorted at first, then clearer. But something was off, her reflection seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Instead of the usual teenage girl with wild curls and bright eyes, the image staring back was a twisted version of herself, pale, hollow-cheeked, and with an unsettling grin that didn't match her own. "Come closer," it beckoned, its voice a cold whisper that danced on the edges of her mind. Marissa shivered but stepped forward, entranced. As she neared the glass, the reflection's grin widened, revealing sharp, glistening teeth. Panic clawed at her throat, but something deep inside urged her on. The mirror began to ripple, the surface warping like water disturbed by a stone. "Join me," it murmured. "We can be one." A flicker of her own fear flared in her chest. "What do you mean?" The reflection tilted its head, and Marissa felt an overwhelming rush of despair wash over her. "I see your darkness, your doubts, your fears. They can't hide from me. But together, we can unleash them. You're tired of being just you, aren't you?" Marissa felt a pull, a tempting call to surrender to the chaos within. She glanced back at the dimly lit shop, the shadows creeping closer as the air thickened with an unshakable sense of dread. But in that moment of hesitation, the reflection erupted with rage, the distorted features twisting violently. "You don't get to resist. You belong to me," it screeched, its voice echoing in the small room, sending shivers down her spine. In a desperate act, Marissa stepped back, but it was too late. The mirror shimmered, a dark void opening within it. The air chilled, and she could see flashes of scenes, her deepest fears laid bare: loneliness, failure, betrayal. Each image sent shockwaves of terror through her. Suddenly, the glass shattered with a deafening crack, shards exploding outward like jagged teeth. Marissa stumbled, her heart pounding, as the reflection reached out, not just through the mirror but through her own consciousness. "Face me," it roared, and Marissa felt herself being drawn toward the remnants of the mirror, as if an invisible force were reeling her in. Fighting against the pull, she shouted, "I won't let you in." Summoning every ounce of will, she focused on the girl she truly was, the one filled with hope and dreams, unbroken by the terror of her own mind. The remnants of the mirror rippled as she pushed back, a blinding light emanating from within her. With a final surge, the reflection screamed as it shattered into countless pieces, each shard flying back into the void. The mirror was gone, leaving only the dusty frame behind, and the shop grew eerily quiet. Marissa gasped for breath, heart racing, but she felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. She turned to leave the shop, but paused at the doorway. The darkness lingered just outside, whispering her name, teasing her with glimpses of what could have been. As she stepped into the misty street, she knew the battle was far from over. The reflection of terror may have been shattered, but the echoes of its whispers would always remain, lurking in the corners of her mind, waiting for a moment of weakness to return. And in Eldermere, where shadows danced in the fog, it was only a matter of time before she would have to confront it again.